Alright guys, today we'll talk about everything we learned from the Joe Mixon trial that just happened today. It will resume tomorrow and we'll get more information, but I want to go ahead and tell you right now, please, please, please understand one simple fact. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Everything right now is being alleged, meaning that it's not based on facts, it's based on allegations, based on what someone is saying happened. Now, if there are facts, if there are evidence, then he will be found guilty. Now, we do know that if he's found guilty, he can serve up to 180 days in jail and also have a $1,000 fine. If he is also found guilty, the NFL will most likely put him on the NFL commissioner's exempt list, and he will be indefinitely suspended until they can figure out some type of punishment for him. Most likely after Alvin Kamara just got a 3-game suspension, he'll probably be seeing himself in a 3-game suspension this upcoming season or next season. So please, again, before we get into this, just understand that this could be a money, hungry incident where the personnel, the woman, is just simply trying to chase him because he has money, and she made up fake stories because of that. Now, could it be completely true? Absolutely, but we'll find out, and the court system will figure this out, not based on what we think or don't think happened. Here's what we learned. Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon is standing trial on accusations he threatened and pointing a weapon at a woman while driving near the banks in January. On Monday, opening statement was delivered and the prosecution began presenting evidence in the aggravating menacing case that stems from an alleged road rage incident in January 21st. Mixon was recharged with the misdemeanor in April after charges were initially filed on February 2nd. They were dismissed the next day, so police could further investigate. Mixon opted for a bench trial. Hamilton County court Judge Glenn Bender is presiding. Prosecutors say that Mixon pointed the weapon at the victim, who is not being publicly identified under Marshy's law provisions, while their cars were adjacent after they turned from 2nd Street onto Walnut Street. The defense says that there was no weapon and the woman's story cannot be corroborated. City prosecutors Tim Horsley said it was a case about road rage, but defense attorney Scott Croswell said Mixon wasn't to blame. There's two sides of this story, Croswell said. The police know the importance of collaboration, and they looked for it for 2 months and couldn't find it. Oh, am I saying that word incorrectly? Okay. This is the classic case of he said, she said. I'm going to guess correlation? I'm going to guess correlation. According to attorneys, Mixon was driving back to practice at Paycor Stadium after he left to purchase cake for the team, change his clothes, and pick up the cell phone he left at home. Mixon and the woman were driving next to each other on 2nd Street when he quickly merged into the left lane of traffic, cutting the woman off, prosecutors said. The two ended up next to one another when they turned left onto Walnut Street. A bird's-eye view video presented by the prosecution of the 3rd Street showed the woman's car next to Mixon's black SUV. Another video from security cameras at Paycor Stadium shows Mixon returning to practice that day. That was the two reportedly exchanged words from each other's cars. The woman, who testifies as a witness Monday, said she pulled up next to him and flipped him off shortly after taking a picture of his license plate. She said Mixon called her profanities and told her she ought to be popped in the face. At that time, she said he banished a weapon in his left hand. According to attorneys, disputed the woman's story, saying there was no handgun that was presented as evidence because the city did not execute a search warrant to retrieve one. Additionally, Mixon's is right-handed, not left-handed. Croswell read from the transcript from the police interview when the woman reported the alleged incident. He homed in on her fight or flight response she said she was experiencing at the time, that she said she was angry or mad 6 times during the interview. She has never said she was frightened in the interview and told the officer that she told Mixon, if you're going to pull a gun, use it. She told Joe Mixon, if you're gonna pull a gun on me, use it. First off, this lady sounds psycho. I don't know anyone who someone pulls a weapon on them, right? And their response is, if you're gonna do that to me, just use it then. The prosecution, and this again, she also said, never, she was frightening her. She told the officer, this is not alleged. This part is not alleged. She told the officer, if you're gonna, she told Joe Mixon, and this is her side, not his side, if you're gonna pull a weapon on me, use it. She's psycho. Nonetheless, if he did anything wrong or not, she is crazy for saying that. Prosecution asked her to recount what the gun looked like. She said she saw the gun, its metal, and the Mixon's hands around its grip. Well, explain what it was. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to tell me, is that a Glock? Is that a what? What kind of weapon is it? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess she was scared in the moment in her alleged story, so that's why. But did I think I was going to get yelled at? Yes, she said. Did I think a gun would be pointed at me? Absolutely not. I mean, you told him to use the weapon on you, which, again, makes no sense. The aggravating menacing charge is a misdemeanor of the first degree, the most serious level of misdemeanor, which is punishable up to 6 months in jail and a maximum fine of $1,000. So, pretty much, this is the alleged incident. He cut her off. They met at one street. She flipped him off. They drove together to the other street, and then apparently he put a weapon on her and said that, you know, he's an NFL player and that he can get away with it and blah, 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 called her profane names. And her response is, if you're going to pull a weapon on me, you better use it. That took some balls to say that. I'm not going to lie. Even though I'm sure there's a chance that her story is completely lying, right? And based on what I think probably happened, it probably was a lie. But nonetheless, though, I don't really like how they said with Joe Mixon's attorney or his defense attorney, that, you know, like, he had a weapon in his left hand and he was driving with his right hand, and he said, well, he's right-handed. Just because you're right-handed does not mean you can't do this. I'm just saying, like, that was a really poor defense / poor statement, because that really does not personify or does not, I can't think of the word. It's like, to get rid of charges. It does not take away the person's, you know, ability to say, well, nope, he can't, he's right-handed, he could not have had a weapon. Because he could not have it in his left hand. No, he could have had it in his left hand. He just could have done this. Especially if he's driving, he's probably having his hand on the steering wheel while he's driving. And then so he wouldn't, I mean, he could go like this and then do that. But nonetheless, though, I think the whole story is probably made up, my personal opinion. But again, like I said, just keep in mind that both sides, at this moment in time, until it resumes tomorrow, Tuesday, 9:30 a.m., that both sides, we do have no idea what is technically the truth. Everything is being alleged at this moment in time, but it also could possibly be that Joe Mixon was wrong. But at the same time, I'm going to guess he was not wrong. We'll find out tomorrow when we get the verdict of what actually, you know, expired. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.